Saturday morning. That means we usually get to have a few laughs, or maybe I get irritated by Samantha because I could never irritate her. Good morning, Samantha.
Hi, it's so nice to sit in this big chair all by myself in the studio. I think it's going to stay this way. You just stay home. I'm like right in the middle here. It's so nice. Oh, you're back.
Okay, there's something that happens every time we go into the studio to shoot this particular podcast.
I roll my eyes at you?
I usually walk towards the fridge and say, I think I'm just going to go and grab myself. And Samantha goes, no, not until you've finished work.
Yes.
Yes. Well, you are at the studio and I am at home. So, and you can't do a thing about it.
I could get up and leave.
No, you can't. Contractually, you can't.
I can. No. I can get up and leave right now. Put the beer down.
Okay.
Put it down or I'm going. Okay, right, I'm leaving. I'm going now. Okay.
It's
bye.
down. It's down. It's down. It's down. It's down.
I think so. Don't
down,
test
boy.
me.
Down.
I'm in the middle. I can do anything I want. All right, so what's going on in your life, seeing as you haven't been able to leave the house? I'm surprised no one's killed you yet. Must be so annoying having you there all the time.
No, it's actually been quite nice.
I went for
it
other
has.
people.
It's been. Who gives a damn about them?
Well, usually you're not cluttering up the place. And there you are, just wandering around, trapped.
Okay, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
What do you reckon? Do you remember when we were in Florence years ago and we went out to, I think we were on our way back from a little village called San Gimignano.
That's right.
Back to Florence.
Yes.
And we stopped off at an olive farm.
That beautiful palace.
And we pressed our own olive oil. Remember that?
That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It smelled
extra virgin olive oil. First pressing was absolutely gorgeous olive oil.
It was gorgeous. And so green. Do you remember?
Yes. Yeah. Now, I don't remember what we paid for it, but I know it wasn't cheap at the time because, well, given the exchange rate, for one, it wasn't cheap.
And it was still lira. Do you remember that? It was even before the euro.
Yeah, it was.
Still lira.
It was,
so probably like 500,000 lira or something.
Yeah, one beer. How much is that? 5 million lira. Ah!
Remember that? Yes.
£6.50. Yeah. What is the most you've paid for a bottle of olive oil?
Seriously?
You know?
I don't know. What's the big one at Woolies? Like 101. Probably around that. I don't get the one that's got the picture of the Italians dancing on it, because I find that the better the picture on the front, the more expensive it is. So if it just says virgin olive oil, 1 liter, that's when I buy it. But that's a cheap one.
Okay.
But as soon as it's got little pictures of dancing Italians on the front, you know it's going to load it up. Yeah. Not that there are any little dancing Italians inside. What's the most you've ever paid for a bottle of olive oil?
Well, we went up to the trout farm in Dahlstrom a few weekends ago.
That's right.
And there was one thing that I've forgotten to take up with me.
Your personality?
Because I can't believe you've just said that.
Yeah, you can.
We've all got our lockers there, and all your general stuff stays there, like your tinned tomatoes and all that sort. So you don't have to schlep things up and your fishing rods and all the rest.
Yeah. Carry on, sorry. I said headache pills for Kari. Yes. Carry on,
yeah. And the one thing I'd forgotten was olive oil.
Oh, no.
We ran out of olive oil.
What a crisis.
So on the Saturday morning, I said, okay, I'm just going to nip through to Dahlstrom to go and get some olive oil.
Right.
And then, of course, everyone decided they also wanted to nip through to Dahlstrom for all sorts of various reasons. Right. Some of the kids wanted to go to that. Have you ever been to that milkshake place in Dahlstrom?
No.
Samantha, if you're ever going to Dahlstrom or driving through Dahlstrom, you come down the main drag of Dahlstrom and you get to the bottom, and just at the last stop street in Dahlstrom on your way to Leidenburg.
Boring!
You'll love this.
Hurry up with the olive oil.
It's the most magnificent milk track place. I'm just telling you. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Don't sit here and try and help. So,
yes.
olive oil. Go through to Dahlstrom. Corin decides to go off with her cousin. They want to look at a few shops and all the rest of it. Got back to the farm, and I worked out that a bottle of olive oil had cost me nearly 2,400 rand.
Did you put too much in on your credit card? I've done that before. Did you put like an extra zero? 2 extra zeros. What happened?
No. Packets of clothes.
Clothes?
Yes. They went off and went clothes shopping.
Are there clothes shops
so
in
what
Dahlstrom? Well, the reason it's called Dahlstrom is
some,
for the exact, is because the clue was in the name. You just go and fish there.
No, they've got some gorgeous clothes shops. There's a magnificent place called Gasoline, which is really, really nice.
Really? Is that where you get your jeans?
Look at me, darling. I'm a picture of perfectosity.
You're a thumbnail of the moment wearing a white shirt, which is just your uniform. Actually, have you worn that the entire week?
No, it's blue.
Is it
it's
blue? Not in this light.
Because I was sitting against a white background, so I thought for this week's uniform, I would wear my blue shirts.
Oh, okay. It just looks a bit grubby. I actually thought that's why you've been wearing it the whole week. But now I understand. It's a completely different color. Cool.
Okay, what contribution are you bringing to this conversation?
What contribution do I need to bring? Well, while they bought clothes in Dahlstrom, I bought a new MacBook. And it's very difficult.
Oh, did you?
To buy a new MacBook.
Why?
When you're old. Well, first of all, you have to go to the iStore. I mean, you can buy it online, but I thought if I went to the iStore, what would happen is I would get lots of help. You know, the clue's in the name. So I go to the iStore, and the man at the door says, "Hi, can I help you?" So I said, "Yes, please. I'd like to buy a MacBook Pro." And he said, "Which one?" And I said, "I'd like to get the one for 27,499 Rand, please." So he said, "Well, what model is that?" I said, "It's the one on the internet that goes for 27,499 Rand." So he said, "But how many gigabytes is that?" I said, "No, it's a lot. It's like lots. And then it's got also more gigs for RAM." So he said, "Okay, hold on." And he got his phone out and he spoke into the phone. Cool. I said, "What?" "No, just checking stock." I was like, okay, so I have this vision that there's this enormous stock room somewhere in the Four Ways Mall. And then I said, "What shall I do?" He goes, "Well, you can just hang out." I said, do I hang out with you?" He goes, "Well, I'm on door." Okay, so obviously not. So I'm like, So I'm wandering around the iStore looking at things, and all I can think about is how much money I'm going to spend on this MacBook, and how it could have been a trip away, but now it's just a MacBook. And I just can't get my head around the fact that it's going to have a fingerprint thingy and then another thingy and a touch thingy, because I don't care, because it's 27,499 Rand. And I have to buy a thing which is like, it's got holes on the side and you can put USBs in, and it's called a converter, which I always thought was like an inverter, except like smaller. But anyway, apparently it's not. And another boy comes up to me, and I promise you I could have birthed these kids. I really could. That's how young they are. And he goes, "Hi, can I help you?" So I said, "Yes, I need a converter thingy with USBs and things." So he goes, "Which one do you need?" I said, "The one for 1,599 Rand on the internet." So he says, "Well, I don't have that one, but I've got one for 1,999 Rand. So I said, "Well, okay." And he says, "And I've also got one for 2,400 or something like that." So I said, "Well, okay, but I don't." Okay. So I said, "Well, I'd need to ask my husband."
Oh.
In 2021, I'll need to ask my husband. So I said, "Well, what do they both do?" And he goes, "Well, it depends what you want." I'm like, "I don't know what I want. I just wanted to go on. And I want to look at the Daily Mail every day. And I want to send emails and do Zoom. That's what I want." So I buy the 1,999 one on the understanding that I can take it back if Martin says no. So then I go to the desk, and there's another person. So I get handed on to another person I could have given birth to. And he's very sweet and very kind. And he sees the look on my face, the fact that I'm mildly green. And he goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm about to spend 27,499 Rand on a MacBook. and 1,999 Rand on a USB thing, holy port thing. And it's making me feel really ill. So he says, but here's the thing. He says, think about it. Your last one lasted you 10 years. So it's actually only 300 Rand a year. So I'm thinking, well, that's quite comforting. So I said, well, that's comforting. And he has a little laugh. And I think he meant it in a nice way. But what I said next was a bit awkward because then he said, we have to email your invoice because it's quite a lot. So I said, okay. And I gave him my email address and I said, is that because if it's a lot of money, you have to use heavier paper? Yeah, you see, you're old because no one else laughed. They like looked at each other awkwardly, like. And I realized to my horror that they actually think I really mean it because I haven't done anything about what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And you walked out the door and the whole shop went, weird old lady.
And do you remember how we used to meet people in our job and they'd walk out the studio or walk out of the outside broadcast and we'd be like, okay, problems there. And I promise you, I walked out of that shop and there were at least 3 people, embryos, if you will, going, oh, you'll never believe what this chick just said. She is nuts. She thought we had to use the heavy paper. So I'm now someone else's story.
It's one of those where the whole of the staff in that store knows the story.
Exactly, and they think it's hilarious. I still haven't been able to like format the whole computer because I just keep thinking about the price and putting it down again. But I'll persevere. Now, don't you have a joke?
You always
I know
do.
you couldn't go to the pub, but did someone phone you with one or?
No, but I can tell you about the doctor from Sunninghill Hospital. I'm not going to name any names here.
No, sure.
So the doctor from Sunninghill Hospital,
yes,
who lives in Lone Hill.
Okay, that's allowed though.
No, I'm just setting up the entire scenario here.
All right.
Because whenever he finished his consults in the late afternoon, early evening, he drives from Sunninghill Hospital up Witkoppen Road towards Lone Hill, and then goes left over Cambridge and left down into the Petervale Centre, where he finds the Old Rose. And he pops in there every evening, and he has one, because he's a doctor and he's sensible, he has a hazelnut daiquiri. It's his favourite drink.
Right.
And Shorty, the barman, makes his hazelnut daiquiri as he sees the doctor's Jaguar pulling into the parking lot. He starts making the hazelnut daiquiri. On this particular day, however, the doctor's Jaguar pulls into the parking lot, and Shorty frantically looks around and can't find any hazelnuts. They're out of hazelnuts.
Oh,
crisis, crisis, crisis.
Of course.
What he does, though, is he finds some. Have you ever had hickory nuts?
Yeah,
have you
but
ever had
it's the
them?
same as hazelnuts.
No, it doesn't taste anywhere near the same. But he finds a pack of hickory nuts.
Okay.
So he thinks, what the hell? Nobody will know the difference. So he makes the daiquiri with the hickory nuts. And he puts it down in front of the doctor, and the doctor takes one sip, and he says, Shorty, he says, this is not my usual. This is not a hazelnut daiquiri. And Shorty says, no, sir. I thought for a change, I'll make you a hickory dickory, doc. He didn't like
Are you
that.
sure you don't have a high temperature?
A hickory dickory, doc. Cheers.
Cheers.
Now you can walk out. Cheers. We'll see you next week again. Bye-bye. A hickory dickory, doc.